everyone, and welcome once again to Netflix Roulette. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today, Eric and I are going to be reviewing a very different kind of movie I chose for this week, Clutch Powers, the Lego movie. This is the Adventures of Clutch Powers, and I think this came out in 2010. This was a direct-to-video thing, and I have liked so much of the Lego stuff that's been put out, especially video games and stuff, that I thought this might be really fun, and so I picked this. And I've been really wanting to see like the Star Wars movie,
I've
the
heard
Batman.
really good things about the Star Wars ones and the Batman one.
Yeah, me too, and I really want to see those. And so this was the one available on Netflix, so we picked it. Right out the gate, Eric. I enjoyed a lot of things about this, but ultimately it just came off as really generic to me.
Well, I want to lead with, I think I watched this movie wrong, and I wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised if you watched this movie correctly.
Oh, all right. Well, I opened it up on Netflix and I pressed the play button.
Was your son sitting next to you?
No, actually, I
Oh,
watched this
really?
last night. I should have watched this with Jason, and I
That's
just
I assumed you would have watched it with Jason, and like watching this, I was like, I feel like maybe I would enjoy this more if I was watching it with my younger siblings.
I will say I was thinking about Jason. I was kind of thinking, well, Jason would really enjoy this. Yeah, I was at crunch time. I thought we were going to be reviewing that night, and so I knocked it out
Yeah.
real quick.
And like, cause I know I've had that like I'll go to bat for Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which is not a good movie, because I watched it with my little siblings, and they liked it. I'm like, well, it's a movie for kids. I feel like maybe I would have liked this movie a bit more if I'd watched it with little kids.
I had that mentality going through it though, because it's just to be fair, it is very clear about its intentions. It knows very much what kind of movie it is, and I feel like at its primary goal, besides kind of again somewhat generically poking fun at the real obvious genre things. There's Star Wars in this movie. There's Indiana Jones in this movie.
Yeah.
There's Lord of the Rings in this movie. And weirdly, there was some Monty Python in this movie.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, with the whole thing with the bridge and like you have to answer these questions, and I was like, oh, this is kind of Monty Python right now. But I feel like its primary goal was to kind of try to capture that feeling you had when you were a kid after you built your Lego sets and you had all these sets from different kinds of genres and you put them all together and you try to make a story out of it. And I felt like this was doing that. It was like, we're not just going to do the city thing or the space thing or the sword and sorcery thing. We're going to put all that stuff together, and it is plotted like little kids playing in the floor,
Yeah.
which made me far more okay with the stuff that I found kind of jarring about it.
It. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. It's. I understood what it was doing, and kind of I got the impression that it was playing with this idea of like, well, all of Lego is in one continuity, so of course it's all one world. But it didn't help me be like, oh, I kind of thought I was going to get like a fun adventure riff, and now there's wizards.
Yeah, it would definitely go to places where I was like, I didn't really want this in this movie, but I don't think that that's a slight against it. I understand why they did it, and um, I guess I'm not sure how in the world they could have made that more clear from the very beginning.
Yeah, well, I was surprised when it opens with him getting a team, because it's not called like the Adventures of like Team Powers. Um, there was
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
stuff where I was just like, oh, I didn't realize that I was watching this movie. Um,
to be fair. There is definitely too much setup. It for the first half an hour, it feels like a pilot for a TV show.
yeah, it really does. That is definitely something I got off of it. Well, can I tell you the one standout for me, the two
Yeah.
characters that always made me laugh,
Hmm.
the skeletons.
The skeletons were fantastic.
I love the skeletons. Everything else was kind of hit or miss. Every time there was a good line here and there, the skeletons were always funny. Uh,
I didn't like the fact that and it didn't do it too real often, but occasionally it would fall back on kind of like burp jokes, and I was like, this is Lego? That's weird.
yeah, well, that's just a kids' movie thing at this point.
Yeah, well,
Which,
I still resist it.
which I guess is really the thing that I felt about this movie is this is a direct-to-DVD kids movie, and I was kind of expecting it, given what I've seen from the video games and what I've heard about the Star Wars movies. I was expecting it to be a little bit more than that, and it wasn't. It's
You kind of thought there might be a little more for the adults.
Yeah, I kind of thought it might have been a little bit more clever than it was. It's like this is a completely inoffensive thing for your kid to watch. Like,
Yeah, sure.
and I would probably have enjoyed it a little bit more if I'd watched it with little kids. As it stands, I'm clearly not the target audience. I laugh
Yeah.
every once in a while. It's okay.
Yeah, the story is certainly pretty cookie cutter, but also sometimes more involved than it ought to be. I kind of, and when I say cookie cutter, I mean the big beats. The obvious thematic stuff. You've got two sons. One is Clutch Powers, and one is the Prince guy, and each of them is kind of on a quest to understand themselves through finding out what happened to their fathers. Okay, that's kind of a classic thing,
Right.
and they play that up, but it doesn't do anything really new or interesting with that. But then beyond that, when I say too complex, what I or not too complex, but almost convoluted, really, more complicated than it needed to be. What I'm really talking about is just plot points. It's like we got to go here and get this thing, and then we got to go over here and go to do this other thing, and I felt like it was structured in such a way where it was kind of forcing all of that genre stuff in there, uh, where it is not a space movie as long as it is a sword and sorcery movie, and that was probably the most jarring thing about it. I think if they had integrated all those elements more, I would have enjoyed that idea of little kids plotting a story with all these things, more. You know what I mean? Like find a way to get more of the sword and sorcery stuff into space. Put the skeletons in a spaceship. Find ways to
Yeah.
integrate these things.
Well,
That would have been fun and more imaginative than what's here.
I kind of want to compare this to something else Lego did, because in the early to mid thousands or aughts or whatever we're calling them, um, I was big into Bionicle when Bionicle first came out, and there was a direct. Well, there was actually three of them, but the one I'm specifically referring to is the first. There was a direct to DVD Bionicle movie. Um, and it's not a masterpiece. I actually recently kind of went back to it because a friend of mine and I were reminiscing about Bionicle. I was like, I wonder if that holds up. It doesn't really, but I felt like that was a little bit better written and a little bit better structured than this. Maybe it's because that was one cohesive world, but like
Yeah,
it's a very similar kind of movie where it's almost like a video game. Like you go here and do this, then you go here and do this, and then you go here and do this, and then you're at the ending. Um, but this felt kind of like, and again, maybe it's because this is going more for comedy than that was, but this felt kind of like they had set pieces and that was it. Like I guess maybe it goes back to that thing of feeling like a kid's adventure or like kids playing with it. I don't feel like they had a story. Like I feel like they were like, okay, we want to include these sets, find a way to get from the city to the sword and sorcery Legos to the space Legos.
yeah,
Um, I don't know.
yeah, and it's pretty messagey. It's pretty obligatory
It is
about
2010.
this is a team that can't work together. I think that they play that up far too long. I don't think there's any reason that about midway through this, these people could start working together a little bit better and then get into the bad guy plot, because all those things coincide at the end, and it's just too convenient. It's like at the exact same time as the two sons are learning about their fathers and becoming uh, uh, becoming more confident about themselves. Also, his team is all coming together to work together better. All those threads come together at the same time too conveniently.
I
But
really
I
didn't like
think
that actually.
what's
Um,
that?
I really didn't like that aspect. I don't like that
Yeah,
his team can't work together. I feel like, I mean, I guess maybe this is more obvious, but like I feel like the story here is Clutch Powers gets a team and he learns to be a team player as opposed to the solo guy. I feel like everybody on his team not being able to work together is just like added and not necessary and kind of convoluted, and I just like I feel like it makes more sense thematically for them to work together and him be the odd man out.
Well, and don't most of the supporting characters actually get about the exact same amount of screen time as he does? This is an ensemble thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Th-
Well, that's kind of what I
this
meant.
is
Where
not
I
a
was
single. That's my point. I don't like that. Well, I don't like that because it's called Clutch Powers, and it opens in such a way where he's supposed to be this big, amazing, almost superhero caliber guy that everybody in the city loves and touts up as this amazing hero, and he can do no wrong. And it's not his story as much as it's everybody's story.
according to the
And
Wikipedia
they kind of
entry.
have to learn the same thing too.
According to his Wikipedia entry, he is the single most famous person in all of Legodom.
Yeah, and I ultimately, I mean, I felt that because it opens and tells you that and makes a big deal out of it in the intro. Weirdly, the intro is one of the more fun parts of the whole movie.
Well, and the intro's, a direct Indiana Jones riff.
Well, I don't mean this the teaser. I mean the intro where they go to
Oh, I
this
see what you mean.
and we get the opening credits. I actually, in maybe that's weird to say, I actually enjoyed that as much as anything in the movie because we got to see the scale of this whole big crazy Lego city, and
Yeah,
it looked really good. The animation in this is good.
yeah, yeah. No, the animation in this is very good for direct to DVD. Um,
It's almost theater worthy as far as the animation goes. They wouldn't have to go too much farther to make a Lego movie.
well, and they didn't
In
go
the
that much
if
farther
they
with
weren't
the upcoming Lego the movie.
well, no, they did that in actual Legos.
Wait, that's stop motion?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. That's fantastic.
it looks stop motion to me.
I thought that
See,
was like a stylistic choice. I didn't realize that they was actually stop motion.
I'm almost positive it is, Eric.
Okay, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm really
Yeah,
impressed.
I'll check. No. I'll check and make sure because I'd hate to be wrong about that, but almost positive. Which is a
Upcoming
cool
stop
choice to.
motion computer animated, so it's both.
Yeah, it's both. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. But
But anyway, yeah. But I think it's cool that they went that way with the movie, instead of doing this. But yeah, obviously you watch something like this to kind of see all of the intricate Lego contraptions, and that's all really fun. I'll tell you, I really enjoyed all of the Lego lore stuff. I thought the idea of them having like a life spark, like a I forget what they call it. It's like the the creator spark or something,
right,
that they're given that actually makes them a sentient being as opposed to all the inanimate Legos. That's kind of fun. Everything's based in bricks, so there's like a special brick they have to
there's a
find.
couple
Stuff like
really
that.
good gags where like something breaks, they have
Yeah,
to put it together, where they put it together wrong. Um,
yeah, it's one piece missing and the whole thing falls apart. That's a big plot point at the end. It actually works okay. I really like how they have to whenever they have to build something really complicated. They have to look at instructions and they look like the Lego instructions that you get in
yeah,
Legos. That was funny. Yeah, all the Lego-y stuff is working
I
well,
wish
and I
I wish the
like that they actually call themselves minifigs.
Lego.
That's cool. And
I
remember there was
I
one
really
part where
like
it was
how
like
he
that's
works for
not a
like the
minifig.
Lego Corporation.
I was gonna say I like the part where it's like that's not a minifig, that's an actual fig. But yeah, all the Lego Corporation stuff was really interesting. I was like, wow, this place knows it's a commercial. I don't think it knows exactly what it's a commercial for because at no point does anyone ever kind of talk about what Lego really is. Like, what is Lego in this world exactly?
I don't know. I was looking at some of the like just notes on the Wikipedia entry, and it says when it aired on TV, when they spell out Lego with the bones, on
Hmm.
TV it's changed to Team, not Lego. Um,
Weird.
yeah. Apparently it might be some kind of copyright thing.
That doesn't make any sense. So do they take out all the signs that say Lego in the movie also?
The word Lego on Clutch's hologram watch in the opening is replaced with Kajeld's face, and the patch that says Lego on Clutch's jacket is gone.
That's really straight. So they can put a movie in like on the TV with the word Lego in it, but they can't show anything with Lego in the movie.
Actually, you know what? I think that might be because there's that whole thing in the 80s where they passed a law that says you can't make an animated commercial, and that's why, like, if you watch like Yu-Gi-Oh, the cards don't look like Yu-Gi-Oh cards because they can't sell the product in the cartoon. So that
And
might actually be what it is.
something like Power Rangers can get away with it because they're not actually using the real toys.
Well, and power. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So, I mean, they make toys that look exactly like it, but since they're technically not using the toys, same thing with Transformers.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's really interesting. Um, so, so I don't know. What, I'm trying to think of what else we should cover in this. There's not a great
Well,
deal to talk
and
about.
part of it is because this is mostly a comedy. It falls into that thing of like, well, there's, what do you really discuss outside? Like, well, there were some jokes that were funny.
Yeah, well, again, it's got a story. It's
Yeah.
just the story's not real deep and complex. So we've kind of talked a little bit about that. You know, you have a lot of characters that have to learn how to be team players, and you also have characters that have to learn how to be leaders. You know, that's in there. It's good for kids. I'll tell you this. I meant to say this earlier. If I had to describe the tone of this movie, it would be this feels like an episode of Veggie Tales without any Christian themes in it.
Yeah, that's fair. I was thinking it reminds me of like some of the like educational kids computer games without all the educational bits.
Yeah, but humor-wise, it reminded me a lot of Veggie Tales.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good call. I wouldn't have thought of that, but yeah, no, you're right. Um, yeah,
I was glad that there weren't songs in it. I actually got 10 minutes in and thought this is gonna have songs in it, and then it didn't, and I was kind of happy about that. But yeah, I don't know. I liked. I can't say that I liked or disliked a lot of the characters in it because, like I said, I found them all kind of obvious stereotypes, and nothing incredibly interesting was done with them because they were all pretty one note. It was like you've got the guy who is shy around women, and he is the only one of the three guys there that really likes the girl, and then they end up getting together at the end. Although the hair thing was cool, that was funny.
I
Um, where
yes.
like she loses her hair, and then they did a great job setting that up where she brought a second thing of hair, and everybody's like, oh god, you're overpacking, why do you have to bring hair? And then she actually loses her hair and has to use it. And that's the moment where the guy that's falling that fell for her already and can't bring himself to say it, that's his opportunity to present himself to her. And I was like, that's funny, I like that.
And when he has the weird like spinny gyro thing on his head for hair.
that that was hilarious. You know, I think I'm
Um,
liking this thing a little more as I'm talking about it.
See, I think I love all of the Lego jokes.
Yeah,
Specifically, like those are the standout jokes to me, at least physical comedy wise. And I kind of wanted this movie to be a bit more of that. But
I
like I
think
said,
it's
I
really
love the
seen for that
skeletons.
stuff.
I'm hoping that that the Lego movie is more of that. It looks like it's going to be more Lego-y jokes.
Yeah, well, and it kind of helps that they got some of the license stuff, so they'll be able to go even further with that because Lego has been such a license thing in the last several years.
But I am going to be really interested to look at the Star Wars and the Batman and
Yeah,
see if they're a considerable step up from this, or if it's just the jokes in those are more about things that like people I know would be more familiar with or more care about, and so they just think it's funnier.
yeah, where there's already a context. But I like the original stories. Well, I guess I've only seen one so far. But I mean, like I liked the original story they came up with for Lego Batman 2, and thought it was hilarious. And that's the premise that they did for the Batman movie. Also, they kind of took the same thing. Lex Luthor's gun thing, and ran with that for the movie. So like if they're plotting those the way they've been plotting the video games, they probably are a step up from this.
I would hope so. Um, Apparently there's a sequel. No, there's a sequel and a midquel. I don't know what a midquel is. I assume it takes place between Clutch Powers and Clutch Powers 2.
Or maybe there's I've never heard that term, or maybe it's something that happens in the middle of this movie. Maybe I don't know what that means. Well, I would. Yeah, I don't know if people. I'd like to talk to anybody else who saw this and see if a lot of kids really got into this movie and if it really warrants a sequel.
Well, I can tell you that my little brother, who's a Legos fanatic, rents this pretty regularly. I haven't watched it
Oh,
with him, but I do know he rents it from the library pretty regularly.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Um, yeah, he's so good at Legos. It's crazy. He keeps getting Legos for Christmas. He got the Lego Harry Potter castle and he put it all together.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I keep wanting to like I don't have the money to, but I kind of want to get him the Death Star just to see if he puts it together.
Yeah, I'm not great at that kind of thing.
I suck at Legos. I suck at Legos so
The
bad.
Batcave took me forever. And it's like it's got instructions. How hard is it? But
Really easy, simple instructions. Uh,
yeah, I mean, I got the Batcave several years ago, not from this new set, but the ultra, big complicated one.
right.
And I had to invite a friend over to help me build it.
I suck at puzzles too, so maybe there's something there.
I
Um,
really want to get the Arkham Asylum they put out, which is bigger than the Batcave, and looks amazing. But it's like $500. No, it's not that expensive. How expensive is it? It was like no, it was like 260. It's like 260
I think the
bucks.
Death Star's 250, so that's not far off.
Get my mind around that. I don't know why I said five. Yeah, it was like 260, and I was like, wow.
That's
I just don't think I could ever bring myself to spend that. Or was it 160? It was 160. It's going down, but it was still pretty expensive.
well, that's always been my problem with Legos is it's really expensive for a build your own thing.
Yeah,
They tell me that building gets half the fun, but I don't agree.
I know, but I think it's just are you a right brain or left brain kind of person? I'm just not into building things is
Yeah,
the thing.
that's
And you know what? Part of that this has nothing to do with anything, but I've never enjoyed finding things. It's just not something that really
oh,
appeals to
going
me.
through the pile and finding the one piece you need.
Yeah, so you get these video games where you have to go find things. I've always said that one of the things that I really disliked about games like Sonic Adventure 2 was I really love the stages where you just run through the
Fetch
level and
quest.
finish it. But then what's that?
The fetch quest stuff. You don't like the fetch quest stuff.
But then yeah, because I'm just looking around for things. I'm like that's not fun. Why am I doing this? And so I don't 100% games very often. Whereas
You
my
hate
wife
Knuckles
like
levels, don't you?
I go, yeah. And then my wife would be like, I'm gonna go find all this stuff, and she 100% like the Lego games and stuff. And so, yeah, building Lego sets, it's like now it's too much like finding things.
it's all right in front of me, but I still have to look.
I still gotta look for it. Yeah, if I look down and it's there, and then I can put it in the thing, then I'm good.
That's
But
also
otherwise,
part of my hatred of puzzles, so I think this might all make sense.
yeah. Eric, what are we reviewing next time? You haven't even told me yet.
No, I haven't. All right, so I knew going into this that at some point I was going to force you to watch some anime.
Oh, all right, all right.
So we are watching an anime film called Tokyo Godfathers. Uh, it is directed by Satoshi Kon, uh, who has done a lot of stuff. He did a film called Paprika. He did an anime called Paranoia Agent. He's really famous for doing off the wall stuff, not necessarily like crazy stuff, but like he made a movie that the studio didn't realize he was making an animated movie until like halfway through production. Like he started like casting people like, well, that doesn't look like the person, and like he doesn't. It doesn't matter. I'm just using their voice. Like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, I'm making an animated movie. It's just people talking. Yeah, I want to make it animated. He's just a really weird guy. He is dead now. There's a whole thing about his final film. They're trying to get it made. But anyways, so Tokyo Godfathers is about three homeless guys who find a baby on Christmas Eve. And I assume whimsy ensues, but I don't actually know. So
You expect it will be quirky.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, looking at the rest of his work, it's probably got some really good character beats, and it's going to be uh, kind of a nice touching film. So we'll see.
I'm looking forward to spreading my wings on that, Eric.
And
I
it's not
I
too
love
anime
trying things I'm not
so
used to. And I don't, yeah, I don't, I haven't tried nearly enough anime. Yeah, I kind of have this reputation for hating anime, which is not fair, because I like a few things, I just haven't done a lot of it, and I've disliked enough things that it hasn't, sparked me to watch a lot more. So I'm always willing.
well, I can pretty much guarantee you this is not like an anime, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
But
Well, cool.
yeah,
That'll be interesting. And unlike anything we've done so far, which is fun.
Yeah. I was looking around. I actually the other thing I was looking at was I found that they have the original silent film Mark of Zorro. I was like, oh, that might be interesting, but I went with this.
And I've seen it.
Oh well, I guess it's a good thing I didn't pick that.
I took a silent film course in college and we watched it.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about that. You didn't mention Zorro, but you told me you took a silent film course. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that was a great course. I've seen a lot of the classics that people talk about a lot. Most of the time, somebody brings up a silent film in conversation. Now I've probably seen it.
Is Mark of
Just
Zorro
the
worth watching?
yeah, it was actually quite good.
Okay, I'll check it out. Not for this show.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah. Well, hey, everybody, thanks as always for listening. Sure hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time on Netflix Roulette. We looked this up before the show. Arrow does not come back until October 9th, and so we will continue bringing you episodes of Netflix Roulette all the way up until then. So anyway, thanks as always again for listening. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.